The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
It's Football Friday on the EP Podcast. The regular 30 Minutes of Good is available still on demand if you missed it earlier this week, anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com. During the high school football season, though, we check in each and every week on the Evergreen Park Mustangs. And sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, head coach of the Evergreen Park Mustangs, Jim Ramazinski. Coach Ram, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. I don't want to spend a lot of time on last week. You lost that one 41-0. That is something you don't want to see. And I'm sure you have to balance. How do you tell the kids this is what you did wrong and still not have them be absolutely crushed after a 41-0 loss?
Well, I mean, part of losing is you have to learn from your loss. So we do have to point out things that went wrong. And it was all phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams. It was kind of a perfect storm in the first quarter with everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. And, you know, it's tough to come back from that. And we weren't able to rebound. And, yeah, I mean, the reality is losing is part of it. And, you know, you want to win every game, but I don't know any coach in the state of Illinois that's undefeated over a couple seasons. I mean,
right.
It happens. So you have to take it as a learning experience. I told the boys on Friday night, remember how this feels, because you don't want to feel this. You know, it's one thing if you play your best effort and the other team just beats you, but when you are beating yourself time in and time out like we did on Friday night, yeah, it hurts. And but you have 24 hours to kind of think about it, and now it's time to move on. You know, we're already in Tuesday. We're done with our Tuesday practice, and we're just getting ready to go. We're moving forward, getting ready for Oakland on Friday night.
You know, I will tell you this. It is an interesting thing, and it might be interesting for some of our listeners out there. The parallel between, you know, on a grander scale, we all watched the Bears get beat in a badly in their game against the Chiefs. And when you sit there and you go, gosh, I wonder what that's going on over there. You, on the other hand, like, you've got a couple of wins this year. You've got a different group. These aren't pro athletes. So, I mean, but on the other hand, there must be some parallel to the idea of, okay, now we've got to turn around and we can't dwell on this very long. We've got to keep going.
I mean, we just talked about it at the end of practice 15 minutes ago. Like, part of life is moving on from things that don't go your way. And the reality is, if people think that all the time things are going to go your way, and then they don't, and then you choose to not do anything about it, it's going to happen again. And, you know, we're fortunate that a majority of our boys feel strong about understanding, hey, we messed up. You know, it's time to move forward. It's time to get ready for the next week. And we're in a good place right now for our Friday night game. You know, even as a coach, I look at things, what I could do differently. And, you know, it's a learning experience. And if you just sit there and think about, oh, I should have did this, I should have did that, you know, I should have called this play, I should have called this play, but then you don't change anything, then you're not actually learning from it. And what our purpose is as coaches, not to try and get wins on the field. Well, our purpose is to try and get wins on the field, but we're trying to create lifelong winners. And a lifelong winner is somebody who responds well when something bad happens. And our boys are in the process of doing that, and we'll be ready for Friday night.
As you sit here with me, I'm looking at your hat. I'm sorry to just stop where we're at right now. I'm looking at this because here you are. You're the new ball coach over there, right? And that thing looks like it's been worn for 100 years. Is that the style? I mean, like, it looks like you've got this worn-in EP ball cap. Is there a story behind this thing?
This was a new hat at one point a couple months ago, but yeah, a lot of sweat.
And that hat looks like it's been through wars. And I'm like,
you're not the first person to comment on it, and it's usually not the hat I wear anymore.
But I dig it because I dig it makes it like it looks worn. I like worn-in things, right?
Yeah, no, it's a result of me sweating profusely at practice all summer, and yeah, I tried to wash it, believe it or not, and it just didn't didn't work out.
When you get the gear, like, is that the idea? Like, they just give you a bunch of gear? Because I'm sure they want you always like in EP stuff, but you must have stuff that you gravitate to that you just like wearing more than other things, so they get more worn in, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, whatever you wear more often is going to look more worn. And I wore this hat all summer.
I can tell you love that hat. They should release a version that's discolored like that and call that the Coach Ram hat, because I love that hat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I like it. It's different shades of green with the EP in it. I'm digging it.
Yeah, I don't know if it would fly off the shelf like you're anticipating there, but you're not the only one to notice it. Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't really care about my hat. I just care about our boys getting better each day and learning, and me myself as a coach and our coaches getting better each day. And it's good to wear this hat because it does remind me of summer camp. To be honest, I wore it and getting to know the guys, and now that I know them better, I'm just blessed that I'm in this position and happy to be there, and happy to get better each day.
Take me through that a little bit. You have summer camp, and then you get to the point where you're practicing for the season, and now you're multiple games into the season, and I would imagine the focus in practice changes throughout that time period. What are you working on now in a typical week of practice? Like, is it more, I would imagine there's a lot of conditioning early on, but this is more game planning, or are there certain benchmarks to a Mustangs practice that you hit every week?
We kind of run a similar schedule each week. Obviously we make some adjustments day to day, but we kind of do our special teams at certain times, our offense, defense, certain times. I would say the big thing week to week in the season is just the level of preparation that you have to have, not only as a player, but as a coach. We spend a lot of time on our own time game planning. And then when we get to, usually Saturdays are reserved for assessing yourself from Friday night. And then once we get to Monday, now it's about your opponent. And so we spend a lot of time looking at our opponents, understanding their tendencies, understanding what they're good at, what they're not good at.
Are you installing plays? Are you sitting there saying, okay, this is a team we're facing, we need to do more of this, or there's a specific like package that we want to do, so that's what we're working on this week? Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, week to week, things do change once you get in season. Summer camp's about building fundamentals, about getting people to understand their roles, their responsibilities, and whatever position they're playing on, offense or defense. But now you got to have guys thinking more on the fly, because it's not the same setup week to week. I'll look at it from a defensive perspective. You might be facing a spread team one week, and then the next week you're facing double wing, triple option. And it's a whole different pace of play, different style of play. And, our boys have to adjust to it, and our coaches have to adjust to it week to week. So we spend a lot of time preparing, watching film, putting together our scouting reports, and then obviously implementing them starting Monday.
One of the things you always hear when you're watching an NFL game or a college game is that a play will happen on the field, maybe a trick play or something special. And sometimes the announcers will be like, they're working on that all week. Or you'll hear the coach afterwards say, yeah, we came up with that. We thought we might use it against them because of something that we saw. At this level, are you doing stuff like that? Do you every once in a while have something in your back pocket that you're like, if we get an opportunity to use it, we went over this specifically, it's not even on film, it might be some trickery or something like that? Or do you try to just stay to your packages?
No, I mean, you always have to find whatever you think is an advantage.
Yeah.
So if we see something and we could change something and we practice it and it looks good in practice, then yeah, we'll try it in a game. But you also, you can't just do it one time at practice and it looks great on air or it looks great against a scout and then assume it's going to look great in the game. So you got to practice it. And whatever we try and put in, we make sure we have enough practice time. And some part of practice is actually eliminating things that you're going to do. Hey, we're going to try this. We're going to try this. You tried a few times. That didn't look the way we wanted it to look. Well, we kind of got to put that on the back burner until, maybe a different opponent or if it's absolutely needed. So it's just a process. Every week is a process trying to narrow down what's going to get your best possible setup to win the game on Friday night.
Coach Ram, this episode and every episode of the EP podcast brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, a local community bank that has all kinds of ways to keep your money in your pocket. No overdraft charges. Every ATM is free. It doesn't matter what the charge is, they're going to put the money back in. If you're a small business owner, they now have a business savings special. Open up a new business savings account, get 4% annual percentage yield for the first 12 months with qualifying activities. Stop in and see them today in that iconic building at 95th and Pulaski, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. Let's take a look at this week's opponent now. So take me through this week then. Who do we got? What's the plan? You're going on the road. Holy cow, you're going to have to get on a bus and go somewhere. There's a little bit of extra thrown into that because you've had home games the entire time. So take me through this.
Yeah, we're playing Oaklawn at Oaklawn on Friday night. 7 o'clock start. It's their homecoming. So that's a good motivator for us. And
do you like playing on somebody else's homecoming? Like, I want to ruin their homecoming? I mean, they're 1-4 right now. Like, this is their Super Bowl, I would think. If they're 1-4 coming into this game, it's their homecoming. They really want to win this game.
I don't look at it as ruining somebody's homecoming. That's not how I would phrase it. But, I kind of look at
You're
it.
You're nicer to me. I like to ruin people's good time.
Yeah, I look at it as, let's take care of business. Let's get there. Let's worry about ourselves. Let's worry about what we need to do to win the game. And all the other things that are happening is just, it's distractions that we have to try our best to kind of, push aside and stay focused on our goals.
You're 3-2 right now, going up against Oaklawn. Then you have 3 more games after this. You got Eisenhower, you got Argo, you got Shepherd. So correct me if I'm wrong. What's the goal? Is it 6 wins to get into the postseason? There was always a number, if I remember, from doing this.
6 guarantees you. So how it works is 5 wins gets you playoff eligible.
Right. So you need to win. To be playoff eligible, you need to win 2 of your last 4. You got to go 500.
Yeah.
But to get that 6th one, if you can win 3 of your last 4,
you're 100%.
You're in the playoffs.
You're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're 5-4, you're called. The reason why they call it playoff eligible is because then it comes down to what's called playoff points. And that's your opponent's wins.
Right.
Counts towards points. So, typically most 5-4 teams do get in. And I think based on our opponents, we would probably meet the standard number that is usually the typical number. The number does change a little bit year to year. But 6, always you want a minimum of 6, just so you don't have to even think about it.
Is that something already on your brain with 4 to go? Are you already thinking the number? Are you already looking at the schedule saying, okay, if we could take this one here, and we could take this one here, we know we got 5, and I think we can win this one here, and that's the goal.
Our mindset is to win every game in front of us. Okay. So, obviously we're hoping to be 7-2 at the end of the regular season.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I like that. I like that answer.
Yeah, that's whatever we're doing, we should do it at full speed, and we should do it with full concentration. So we're hoping to just get back on track this week and finish the season strong, hopefully at 7-2, get ourselves a good playoff spot.
What's the plan at quarterback right now?
Yeah, we're working Aiden in, and he's doing a great job at practice right now. So we're hoping to continue to just make progress each day and keep working.
What kind of a QB is he? Pocket passer, somebody who scrambles, somebody like would. I mean, I don't want you to give away anything. I don't want you to give away notes to Oaklawn or anything like that. But just like if somebody goes out and watches him like take the field, we haven't heard a lot about him yet. What kind of player is he?
He's a very intelligent player. He's a very good teammate, very focused. He can put the ball all over the field, and
that's good. You need a quarterback that can do that.
Yeah, and we're excited to watch him play on Friday night.
Awesome. Very, very cool. All right. So focus for Oaklawn. I know 1 is get the W. 2 is get on the bus on time and make sure that you don't leave anybody behind. I understand all of that. But like when you look at that Oaklawn team, is there anything that stands out to you about them matchup wise? Anything that we should be looking for on Friday?
They play hard. They have some pieces that are really strong. They run a system with fidelity, and they run it well. And, they've had a couple close games that they weren't able to finish, but we're looking at it as we're playing a quality opponent that we need to be very focused on. We got to get the win on Friday.
And they got a lot more if you drive down 95th Street up there than they've ever had before. I don't know if you noticed. Have you seen it lately? Like it used to be that just said Oaklawn High School. Now it's got, then I got like a big giant thing with all their different sports teams, like with the years and stuff like that. As you drive down, they've got a brand new banner that runs the length of the thing. They're really kind of going big on their own promotion as you come down the street. So you guys are going to see that when you drive in there.
Yeah, we're going to see it. And we're going to get on the field and just focus on the game.
There you go.
Because, that's great. Their campus does look nice. Evergreen's campus, obviously,
it's beautiful.
Looking
Evergreen's
great.
campus is beautiful.
And, that's all fantastic. And I'm happy that their campus looks good. And we'll drive past them and we'll just be focused on what we have to take care of on the field.
Is there a little bit of you that wishes that you played in a rural area so that for road trips, you would be on a bus with your team and behind you would be like screaming maniacs on another bus following, like in Slapshot or even All the Right Moves or any of these other football movies you've ever seen where like the boosters are behind because they all have to drive 45 minutes to the town? I mean, do you kind of wish that you could get a game like that because of the fun of that?
I've had a game like that before at a different school where we traveled out of state for a game. It was a lot of fun. It was great, but it also makes for an extremely, extremely long day, and you got to prepare your boys for it.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself for it. So, I like going on the road. I would like that atmosphere, but at the same time, it's not the worst thing in the world just to have to drive down 95th Street and get there in 15 minutes. So.
Coach Ram, thank you so much for getting down here, and let's see a rebound this week, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.